Hello and welcome to The Picture Show, filmed live in the studios of Bossier Parish Community College. I'm Cody Lewis.
And I'm Shelby Roberts.
And today we have a few new movies on our list. First up we're going to talk about is Risen. So let's take a look at that trailer.
When the Messiah comes, Rome will be nothing!
Until then.
The Nazarene city'd rise again after 3 days. You will lose peace and order if it's true.
Will the people believe it?
The weak will.
There will be no other gods.
Kill him.
The tomb is sealed, guarded with your life.
Tribune, Pilate summons you.
The body has vanished.
His tomb is empty.
Where has he gone?
You tell me. Already they're proclaiming him risen from death.
The Emperor cannot arrive to unrest. We must find a body.
Combed the city for bodies dead in the last week.
Take them up.
Everyone. His disciples. Where are they hiding his corpse?
It was not his followers.
Another body, sir, just revealed.
No.
Who told you the Nazarene was alive?
Mary Magdalene.
You're looking for something you'll never find.
Open your heart and see.
No more lies. What happened to the body?
The ropes, they just exploded. He should have returned by now. I have seen two things which cannot reconcile. A man dead without question, and that same man alive again.
What frightens you? Being wrong. Wagering eternity on it.
So that was the film Risen. Now, can you tell us some of the people who were in this movie?
Yes, Cliff Curtis, who plays Jesus of Nazareth. You may know him from Fear the Walking Dead, as well as The Last Knights. Joseph Fiennes, whose brother has actually played in some movies with Felton, who plays Malfoy on Harry Potter. So they played Harry Potter together, and Felton is in this movie as well. He plays a Roman soldier, as well as Peter Firth. He plays Pilate, and he actually has a long-running history of playing Roman, either generals or tribunes, but they're pretty big names. And it's really surprising to see them in a movie like this, because Christian movies have kind of gotten the kind of rap, but for not being great quality movies, not storyline obviously, but like budget. So this movie having such a big cast was great to see, as well as it was a really good movie.
Yeah, and even though it does have, you see a ton of people on the screen at one time. They have mainly there's the apostles, as well as we have only a few Romans we really see, and then a few other people. So if you look at the credits, it only has a couple of names on there. I think 20 people or so, because it really follows just
Clavius, Fiennes, and the disciples a little bit, but really just Clavius and Felton. And Felton's character, who I don't remember the name of, and Pilate. It really follows the Roman soldiers more than anything, which is what I like, because I don't know how true this is, because science is always finding something else about the Bible or in general, but Clavius's character was really neat to see, because he's a Roman soldier who, like one of the disciples, would kill Christians and persecute them, and he went to war, and now he's hunting down Jesus because he's told that Jesus is risen, and obviously nobody believes it but the disciples and then some followers, but the Romans are like, we don't need this to be a riot. We don't need this. We need to make an example of this. So go find whoever they're saying is risen and eliminate him or bring him here. So it was a really good story to see somebody on one side come to another.
And I don't even think they say Jesus in there at all.
No, because the Hebrew name is Yeshua and other names.
They go with like the way they phrase things and everything. They go actually with the historic way of doing it.
And that's another thing. This movie, despite on what you believe, Roman-wise, like historically, it is extremely accurate. It's accurate down to the costumes, to the weapons they use, and especially, but and biblically, I don't know about Clavius. It doesn't tell about him at all at the Bible. But like I had asked you earlier, I was like, Judas kills himself in the Bible, but you don't ever see anybody talk about 11 apostles. So I don't know if Clavius.
Yeah,
if
I think
was
there's
a real
like
story.
one part in the movie where they say that there's 12 of them, and then the guy corrects himself. Was like, well, there's 11 of us right now.
Yeah, and that was the joke because he was following them at that point. But yeah, and you don't even see Cliff Curtis's. You don't even see Jesus until well into the movie. So that was
I think you see him at the very beginning, and that's him being crucified. Most stories that we see that involve Jesus are always him before, where it's leading up to this, and then that's the finale. This movie starts off. Clavius is doing battle and stuff, and he comes back, and Pilate needs to see him, and like on his way, the ground quakes and stuff, and whenever he goes to see Jesus, is like his last words were,
the Roman soldier said, "Sir," he said, "it is finished," and he just died, and and that's what it says in the Bible. So I liked how this movie was very accurate to that as well. But yeah, it's just and it's like those funny little things that are just like, he said it's finished, and it's like, wow, that's really powerful.
Yeah, a lot of times in these movies, again, like Jesus is your main character, and what I did enjoy about this movie is that it goes off of the other people. We get to see more about what Peter was like as a person, and the things that he would do.
The human, I guess, more side of it, because Jesus is supposed to be this God, half man, half God, and like you said, we always see about what he does in his life, but it was nice to see more of the Clavius and Roman soldiers, what they saw, and as well as, because he was just following orders. When you think about it, I mean, that's all they ever knew was, soldiers are following orders. You have to go conquer this or that, and then they had all their gods, and to have this man come in all of a sudden saying, "I'm God," but his people give him up and want justice for him saying that, and it's like, what do you believe, And so that it was a really neat thing to see, because at some point they're interviewing people, they're like bringing people in, saying, kind of interrogating them, where is this Jesus? Why are you saying that he's alive and he's risen? And at one point they have one of the apostles, and he's just kind of giving him these kind of vague answers, and he's just like, and Clavius has had it at one point. He's just like, I don't understand, like, why are they saying this? I saw him die. So it was nice to see, somebody. It was very humanizing, I guess.
Yeah.
To see.
And then we have I do like that they are doing these different parts of Jesus' life kind of stories.
Yeah.
Because there's another movie that's coming out here later that's The Young Messiah, where it's Jesus when he's a kid, and there aren't too many stories about that. And then I feel like there aren't too many stories about what Risen's about, and so it's in a way it's kind of like what I guess comic books have been doing, where they're kind of coming out with more of these movies and it's expanding.
Yeah.
But in this, they're now going off of the biblical times, and I would enjoy to see more of that, but done in this style.
Yeah.
Because like at one point, flies are just like landing on people and they just don't care.
Yeah.
Like the actors really get into it.
Yeah, and exactly, and like we were talking about, it's accurate. It's historically accurate. Everything you see in here, even if you don't believe in the Bible, really happened in history. What we found in history, and so, just having Pilate's pretty accurate, to what we know about him, and the Roman legions and the tribunes and their symbols, and it's just really cool to see.
Yeah, and then Felton, I feel like he's always playing like this bad guy.
Yeah.
Kind of character. Like he's not terrible. Like he's not like I'm the baddest person around in this,
Well, like
but
Planet of the Apes and Harry Potter, he played that, and then this one, he's kind of.
I think I've seen one other movie where he's not playing that, and he's
Yeah.
like, it's a horror movie. But I've heard that if you meet him in person, he's super nice.
Yeah.
And he's confused with the guy from Breaking Bad a lot, and so if you go up to him and if you say that he's Jesse from Breaking Bad, he'll be like, yeah, I am. Compared to like some of the other actors who have that happen to them.
Yep. But this movie, how many stars would you give it?
I very much enjoy this movie. I would definitely, this is a movie I would like to get, so I would suggest 4.
4?
Yeah.
I think I would agree with you because we really haven't seen a movie like this since Passion of the Christ, because when that came out, I mean, it was a huge hit, and this one I would say 4 as well.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see what's new on Blu-ray and DVD.
I teach a wide variety of things, including film editing, directing, documentary making, lighting. I fell in love with art as a young child, and it's just always something that has stuck with me.
You know, I love the whole process of going on set, going back into the editing room, telling a story. That's what I really love about film.
I got laid off from my job, and I figured this was the perfect opportunity to go to school to get a degree for it.
As a kid, I was really into geeky stuff. I couldn't think of anything else that I would rather do.
They really provide you with the equipment and you know, the necessary tools in order to, you know, advance in a career, especially in communications field.
Well, one thing that really drew me to video production especially is it's just a way to reach people. And as someone who likes to communicate with other people, I felt that mass communication, especially broadcasting, was a tool that I could use.
You get some hands-on experience. They've got good stuff to work with. They really know what they're doing, and they're willing to pass it on.
When our students leave Bossier Parish Community College, they are equipped to get a job immediately, or they can move on to a 4-year degree.
We grew up together. We believed in something bigger than ourselves. The military took me to one side of the world and her to the other. And even though she was always the strong one, when we caught up years later, I found out she had fallen on some hard times. It was her call to make, but doing it together made all the difference.
When I see homeless vets on my route, I always think to myself, we both swore an oath to protect our way of life, to protect our community. With VA's hotline for homeless vets, I can get them connected with help to get them back on their feet again.
VA's round-the-clock hotline can put veterans who are homeless in touch with the resources and support they earned through their military service. You have the power to help a veteran facing homelessness. Go to va.gov/homeless to print your wall cards. For veterans who are homeless or on the brink of homelessness, call 877-424-3838.
Welcome back. I'm Shelby Roberts.
And I'm Cody Lewis.
And up next on the Picture Show, we have Jordan to tell us what's new to Blu-ray and DVD this week.
Good afternoon, everyone. We had some amazing movies become available on DVD and Blu-ray this week. One of those was a hilarious comedy starring Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. The movie, Sisters, is about 2 siblings, now grown up, that find out their parents are selling their childhood home. They decide the best way to come to terms with it is to throw the party of the century before the house gets sold. I would definitely recommend this movie. I don't think I went a full 2 minutes without a laugh. It was great. Another excellent movie that came out this week was Steve Jobs, The Man and the Machine, which explores the life of the Apple legend. A great kids movie, Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Trip, was also released this week. The family adventure/comedy stars the Chipmunks up to their usual shenanigans as they decide to take a road trip to New York and stop Dave from proposing to his girlfriend. The events that ensue are pretty hilarious. One last movie that came out, The Big Short, starring Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, and Brad Pitt, is one that a lot of people have been waiting for. It tells the true story of some American investors that rose to riches during the U.S. mortgage crisis of 2005 through 2007. And that's all I have for What's New on DVD and Blu-ray. I'm Jordan Ginn.
Very inspirational movie.
We had some amazing
Eddie the
movies
Eagles. Let's take a quick look at that
DVD
trailer.
and Blu-ray this.
As we embark on a new era for sport. It's an opportunity to discover a new kind of athlete.
Okay, hands up, that was my fault.
For as long as I can remember,
Champion!
it has been my ambition to become an Olympian.
Eddie, you are not an athlete!
You're right. I'm never going to go to the Olympics. I'm going to go to the Winter Olympics.
You will never be Olympic material.
Let's do it.
I really need a coach.
You do realize the time to start jumping is when you're 5 or 6.
What would you know about it anyway?
Bronson Peary, 1968 champion.
How come I've never heard of him?
They kicked him out.
He was disrespectful of the sport.
It's just after a few tips.
Give up. There's one for free.
Could you give me a push, please?
A push?
He's a lot higher than I expected it to. Oh, wait! Don't bend your leg!
You're not gonna give up, are you?
I'm gonna do it. I was kicked off every team I was ever on before I even got a chance to prove myself. That's why I need my own moment.
It's a world that doesn't want to know you.
So what's new?
I know what it's like to be written off. I can get you your moment. It's gonna hurt like hell.
We have no desire to be associated with ludicrous antics
I think a little bit of weed came out.
and defeat.
You're a disgrace to the sport.
Really?
Personal best! And we're a disgrace!
I love proving people wrong. I have to do this.
You got more spirit than any of those other jumpers out there.
Here he comes, Britain's Eddie
Edwards. You're Eddie the Eagle. Just fly.
Eddie's off! Can he pull off the impossible?
And that was Eddie the Eagle. And it stars Taron Egerton as well as Hugh Jackman. It's directed and produced and I think kind of written by Matthew Vaughn, who I'm a big fan of his work.
Yeah, this movie is, again, another inspirational movie, sports movie, in fact, and this was true events, correct?
Yeah, it's based off of a true story, I guess, technically. The Eddie, who is the kid who's doing all the jumps, he was actually a real person. And the thing was, the guy who is Eddie, he went and saw the movie and he said that he loved the movie and it was great. The only thing was he said about 5% of it was accurate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, apparently a lot of that stuff didn't really happen. Hugh Jackman's character is I think Bronson Peary. He wasn't a real person. Bronson is actually a combination of the two American coaches who helped Eddie with becoming what he was today, what he became.
Okay, so but Eddie Edwards was a real person, and he did really go to the, what was it, 87?
It was I believe it is 88.
88 Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this story, as you said, takes place in it really takes place in Germany. Most of the movie.
Yeah, a big chunk of it takes place in Germany, where he's training and learning before he goes and starts going through the the European circuit, which he actually did do that using his mom's vehicle the entire time, and so that's all based off of something true.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff in there apparently didn't really happen, but the actor apparently did portray Eddie very well. He actually was very clumsy, and did comment about how he, whenever he was getting off the plane, the automatic doors he thought were supposed to be opening, but they didn't, and he slammed right into the glass.
Oh, wow.
In front of all the press.
Well, I think that's one part of the movie that the reason the press liked him was because he was so real and he wasn't this athlete that, I mean, Eddie had always wanted to be in the Olympics since he was younger, and he had been skiing and just recently started ski jumping, but the whole thing was that he's a newcomer, he's an amateur, he's never going to make anything of himself, but by a series of events, he got to be the only British ski jumper since what, the 20s?
Yes, I think it was like 36 or
Yeah,
so.
there was a good gap between the last ski jumper, and in fact, when they show you like the distance of his jumps, he like almost every ski jump, big milestone, he had exceeded the British record because again, there had never been one. But this story is inspirational nonetheless because of all what he had to go through, and it's really a story, I don't want to say about proving people wrong, but proving yourself and what you can do.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those stories that it tells you that you need to follow your dreams and your goals, because that's what Eddie does, and Eddie finally gets where he wants. His entire life he'd wanted to be an Olympian, and in the end they kind of have to let him.
It's the heart as well, like you said, and at one point they even changed the rules, and I don't know how accurate that was.
That was accurate.
Was it? Okay. And they changed the rules, it seemed like on purpose, to make sure he couldn't get in. They tell him it's just so nobody, like not anybody can get in, just the professionals. And but he ends up exceeding this too. So it's really whatever drive you have, you know, like to prove people wrong, to be great, to follow your dreams.
And one upsetting fact is that since Eddie, they actually updated them again, and in 1990, they updated the rules once more, so that way no more Eddie the Eagles could pop in.
No.
So you actually have to have a lot more things in order to get into it.
The Olympics does not like underdogs, do they?
Yeah. It was actually a big thing that a lot of the, he started doing ski jumping like a year before he was in the Olympics, whereas many of the other ski jumpers and a lot of the athletes had been doing it since they were kids.
Yeah.
And that was what they did. And the reason why the press loved him so much was that Eddie wanted to be there. That was his dream, and he embodied what the Olympics were.
Yeah. Well, even at one point in the movie, one of the best ski jumpers in the world at that time has when Eddie first meets him, he's, you know, basically has nothing to do with him. He doesn't want to talk to him. But at the end of the movie, he basically, you know, has this heartfelt moment saying, we could get up here and do our best and our worst and score terrible, but at the end of the day, we're doing it because we love the sport as well. But everybody else was doing it for, you know, the fame, the athleticism, the coaches behind them, and there was actually, and I want to say he's an American coach, but he played a Finnish or Polish Norwegian coach, and he made a cameo in there, and he was quite the antagonist, and at one point, like you saw in the trailer, he kind of hits on Hugh Jackman's character and just kind of basically bullies him. Of course, by the end of the movie, they're okay, but Hugh Jackman plays a really good character as well.
The actor who played Taron, who plays Eddie, he actually does pretty good, like looking. He looks a lot like him and gets a lot of his mannerisms. And
he's a
Hugh
new
Jackman.
face.
Hugh Jackman is just great in the movie in general. He's always good.
What movie is he not great in?
But Matthew Vaughn, this is another great film by him.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of Matthew Vaughn, and so I'm always happy to see his movies that he has. He has a couple more movies that he's working with Mark Miller again with, because Matthew Vaughn, he also did X-Men First Class, he did Kick-Ass, he did Stardust, and they're working on towards getting Superior done, which is another Mark Millar comic book.
Mhm.
So there's a
So looking forward to a long career of Vaughn.
yes, I look forward to it. Seeing more of that Marv logo pop up on movies. So out of 5 stars, how many think you can give this movie?
I would give it every bit of 4. I would say 3. I don't know, 3.5 to 4, but I would stick at 4 because it's a great movie.
I'd have to go with 4. I'm a big fan of the director's style of filmmaking, as well as the actors. They did great in it, and so I enjoyed the movie every minute of the way. So it's definitely a movie I want to get on Blu-ray, and hopefully it has commentary because I would like to hear
Yeah.
some of that stuff. Well, that's gonna be all the time that we have for today on The Picture Show. I'm Cody Lewis,
I'm Shelby Roberts.
and we'll catch y'all next week.